Welcome back to the channel, Chillmonger. I want to thank you subscribers, something I don't actually do too often, for subscribing. All, however many of you it says so down there. We're going to review comic books. I know I've been doing the countdown. If you were looking for a countdown video yesterday, just didn't do it. It's my channel. I don't have to do things if I don't want to. And since we're on the topic, yeah, man, the movie's coming out, Captain Marvel. I'm thrilled. I'll be there, and you should expect the review maybe 3 a.m. Eastern. Internet's kind of slow where I will be, but I'll do a review, maybe 5 or 6, 7 minutes, and that'll be that. Comic book reviews, though. Time cues are in the description box, but we're gonna do Champions, and we're gonna do Uncanny X-Men number 13, and we'll do them together because they're sort of intertwined, kind of related to one another. Champions, there's 3 things I want to touch on. There was the A story, I think, would be Miles Morales, and that whole issue 2 was focused on him. He asks Qureshi, this teleporter, take me back to Dubai, because when he saved the day the first time, 2 of the heroes died. Mephisto brought back time and said, save the day again. And he did it, but unfortunately, one of the civilians died, so he's paying respects to the civilian. And on the last page, I'll just skip to the last page, it's like Ms. Marvel and Spider-Man. That's the first time I actually called Miles Spider-Man. I don't usually do that. Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Miles Morales is the second Spider, like they said in the book. And yeah, that's the final page right there. Second thing I want to touch on in this book, which is not X-Men related, would be when they call out Snowguard. They say, look at that person, she's got wings just like Angel, she must be a mutie. Now she answered that without saying, no, I'm not a mutie, because then that would justify their bigotry and their hatred and their hate speech. Instead, she just said something more neutral. But what she didn't say was, oh, I'm not a mutant. No, it's okay, you don't have to hate me. I'm not. No, she didn't say that because it would be wrong to. So that was good. Now back to the mutant shit. There is a mutant in this book, Dust, Suraya Cotter. If you're reading Uncanny X-Men, then you know that Cyclops is recruiting a team. He got his brother in there. He's got Magic, the character. He's got Shine. He's got Wolverine. Okay, he's still building on this squad with multiple men. For some reason, the mutants are believed to be dead. There is a vaccine that can cure you from the mutant gene from activating as a baby. And it's hard times right now for mutants, as well as the X-Men. They're all like they're all away, all the real X-Men, because they were all called to battle. Dust is still here, and she's just showing up. In Uncanny X-Men, when they're on the news, when they're not, when they show up, it's like, holy shit, did you see what happened in New Jersey? It was Cyclops and them damn X-Men. But over here, she's in a no more mutants rally outside of Worthington Industries, Manhattan. Manhattan, it said. I thought it was San Francisco. I just realized that. All right, here we go. My big problem is what I guess it would be Jim Zub, whoever the voice of the dialogue boxes are. She was pulled into family drama when the call went out to join her friends. She ignored it, and now they're gone. She wouldn't ignore it, and the family doesn't exist. I collect X-Men. Look at this, Omnibus, Kapowie, New X-Men, where she debuted. Professor X, right over here, issue 146, tells her, he says, I thought I felt someone nearby. Your telepathic presence is almost undetectable in granular form. Incredible. You could have easily said, well, she didn't join Jean Grey during that telepathic call because she was in her granular form. When she's Dust, she can't be found. But now you're telling me that this good guy character just ignored, and that doesn't fly with me. The reason I brought this big-ass omnibus is because at the back of it, it's the new X-Men Hellion story, where you see Mercury asking her New X-Men Hellions #1, are your parents okay with you going to California? And she answers down here that, I don't know. I was kidnapped from my home in Afghanistan several years ago. I was then sold into slavery. I have tried to track my mother down, but since the war, it's been difficult. She don't know her dad, she don't know. Now her mom, during this storyline, the villain gives her a phone call to her mom, and they actually link up to each other. I'm finding the page as we speak. I could just skip to this moment where they embrace each other. Kingmaker, thank you for making this happen. Now the story ends in number 4, issue 4 of this story, with the Kingmaker taking her from that slavery or refugee camp and hiding Mom back again. She tries to call Mom, but the person on the phone says that she's been transferred. Very sad. Haven't seen her mom since. She has no family is what I'm getting at. Maybe they can say, you know, she was with her family, meaning Muslims. That'll be a stretch. Either way, I know in issue number 5 of Champions, Cyclops will show up, and maybe that'll be to recruit her, and we might get some answers. And that thing that I hated in Uncanny number 5 that happened, where all the world religions were disappeared and they never really came back. I hated that shit. Like, not just because it was any religion, I would have hated if they would have done stuff like that. Just keep that out of it. But maybe there's a long game plan with Matthew Rosenberg, and she might be really, really mad at X-Man. Maybe she kills him by using dust. Who knows? Obviously, the story, it's been like 3 months since that story, and I still haven't seen any answers from it. So I'm still holding out like a fraction of hope. Next book would be obviously Uncanny X-Men. This was a great ass book. I'll probably give it a 10 out of 10. Or maybe a 9. I can't give it a 10 because I'll give it a 9 out of 10, alright? And Champions was okay. Champions gets a 7. So, green six-eyed girl that they freed just kind of disappeared. Matthew Rosenberg uses this kind of off-screen, off-pages explanation. Instead of making the artist draw pages and shit, he'll just simply say, no, she just up and ran after we got her out of the ONE facility. Not even sure how they caught her in the first place. I couldn't find a trace of her out there now. By the way, this page, first page you open up, all you see is these different shades of brown. This is, who do I thank for this? Is this the color artist? Because Salvador LaRocca was drawing comic books in the 90s, I think. X-Men, and it didn't look like this from what I read on the Marvel app. I was not that old. But beautiful job by the color artist, Guru EFX. That sounds like a computer did it, but thank you, Guru EFX. More to the book. That off-screen stuff is great, though, because it keeps the flow moving. I love it. And Magic chooses uniforms that were underneath the X-Men Academy. They didn't actually say which one. Was it the New York City or the New York State Westchester one? And I'm saying she chooses them because she got them in the image that she thinks the X-Men are. I think that's what we're going to get at. Yeah, she could have got any of the X-Men apparel. I think she's the one who kind of changes Cyclops' apparel in the first place, isn't she? In your Brian Michael Bendis's, she kind of just gives him a new uniform like that. But she went and got him the old stuff, and everyone's wearing their old classic things. It's because she chose it, not because that was the only one left. Jamie absorbs Jamie. Very emotional moment where he actually has to die inside him. Things we don't have to think about. But it happened, and it made me feel for Jamie. And I understood why he wanted some revenge at the end when he said, "Give Magic, give me your sword. I'm going to kill Dark Beast." Who needs to die? Anything from the Age of Apocalypse or anything from Age of X-Men that's happening now, better not come into the current 616. That's a threat. That's damn right. I just realized how stupid I am. It better not happen. Who am I? I would not like it because I'm not reading those books. I was given the code to that book from a reader at the comic store. He's like, "Yeah, I don't use digital stuff here. Use the code." Yeah, I got the code, and yeah, I downloaded it. Well, I was downloaded like the other books that I get, but then I'm just like, I don't even want to read this shit. It was Prisoner X or whatever the heck it was called. Then one thing I noticed is that Vulcan is on the list, like number 6 on that list of villains that the X-Men need to make right. That's cool that Cyclops would have his brother so high on that list. If it was any other person, Vulcan wouldn't even make that list. Last I know about Vulcan, Black Bolt kind of killed him during the War of Kings, I think is what the story was called. Well, but you know, there's a lot of Marvel that I have been missing that's happened in space. Maybe Vulcan is still alive. The Avengers, issue number 706. Ghost Rider is like the Hulk in the World War Hulk, where he can kind of speak to him in his car. World War Hulk 2 with Amadeus Cho. He can speak to him in his car and you can actually see a physical thing. And it's all happening in the brain. Strange, but it was Johnny Blaze who he was speaking to. And he is no longer sick because Blade, the vampire hunter, sucked the blood or the sickness out of the Ghost Rider, Robbie Reyes, and he's back to healing. And he said, "You better not make no joke about it." It wasn't that funny. I mean, this is a superhero world where crazy stuff happens. Just because he sucked you to heal you, it's saying it out loud in Earth 1. Yeah, that sounds funny, but 616, you guys, they can handle that. It's not that funny. I saw a picture over here of Hulk punching the vampire, and I really didn't like it, and I will show you why. Because the speech bubbles were getting in the way with grr and shh, make those sound effects. Not needed, man. Because now the white bubbles are taking away from the vampire's arm. Let me appreciate the art. Sometimes you don't actually gotta put all these sound effects. He does it again over here. It did not really enhance my reading that he says, "Herger." That's just me, and if that's you, you'll let me know in the... There's a line here by Captain Marvel who says, "We're fighting vampires who kill other vampires, along a vampire who kills a vampire." That's such a... We're just talking about racism and the whole bigotry stuff. That's close-minded. These are individuals themselves. You don't just say they're vampires who kill vampires, and that we're fighting with a vampire who kills vampires. You would never think of them that way. These are all individuals. Does that make sense to me, or am I overthinking? I feel like that's not very superhero. I think you need to notice everyone for who they are and not just generalize because they're vampires should we even be part of this war. That wasn't superhero. Vengers gets a... It was a good book. It was 8 out of 10. I like my fighting. No Road Home starts with the Nyx backstory, NYX, that the long-necked character, and in the middle we get some story, and at the end we get more backstory of the character Nyx. So from the middle of the book, good fighting scene, and I would say that the artist Sean Isaacs did a damn good job. The backstory stuff kind of showed that Nyx can just have children, asexual reproduction, grade 9 word. She just does so, and we hear the story of how one was born. One of them is called Deceit, and the other one is called that. It's just silly to me. But I mean, we know who we're up against. There was a part in here about strobe frequencies, and if Spectrum can turn the lights, you can unhypnotize. That's Al Ewing writing. I know that. How about we just go to Immortal Hulk, written by Al Ewing? No Road Home this week gets a 6 out of 10. Not a fan of the backstory stuff for a character who, yeah, we got 3 writers writing it, Jim Zub, Mark Waid, and Al Ewing. But I feel like other writers will not respect this character because they didn't grow up reading them. That's the world we live in. That's the Marvel we live in. It's going to take like years from now when someone who is a fan of that stuff will actually write them properly. Immortal Hulk. Yeah, I'm the only guy in the world who's hating on this book. I feel so justified in it. The gravestone that shows, Ross's date, birth in the 60s all the way to 2019. You never do that in a comic book like Marvel because you don't date your characters. You don't date your book. This book is now dated. I'm going to read this book, someone will, 3 years from now on the app, and realize, wait a minute, 3 years have passed since this? Well, why is Spider-Man still in his mid-20s? Like, only 10 years have passed since Captain America was taken out of the ice. Only 10 years have passed since Reed Richards and Sue Storm had their kid. Less than 10, because I guess she's pregnant for 9 months. So to say something like 2019, you can't stick to dates like that. You cannot do it. Betty Ross is at the funeral. Didn't really realize who it was that she was speaking with, but it was the man who killed her with that Zeta cannon. Tony Stark. Tony Stark. For months she thought he was dead. Oh, there was a cool little continuity thing where Bruce Banner and Betty Ross, met with each other and they used some shield communication technology that could throw off anything so that the people spying on them had to go by heat signatures instead. I like that they're paying attention to the shield stuff that went down with Betty Ross. Not that I read any of it, but for fans who did, continuity is key. So that was really cool by him. So because of the heat signatures, you couldn't tell who was who, that sniper dude. And that sniper dude shot and hit Betty Ross. Ooh, wrong target. Unfortunately, For him, though, as they say, a Hulk can't die during the night. It was nighttime. I didn't put it together, but then, oh shit, when they showed the picture of her eyes gleaming up, oh, okay, Betty Ross is back. She'll be the Hulk again, Red Hulk. Nice, nice. The last page is Doc Samson, the guy with the green hair. This book gets a 7 out of 10. That's the highest I rated in Immortal Hulk. Spider-Man.hu. They said it wouldn't be important, but it feels kind of important. Because that last page of issue number 16 of Amazing Spider-Man, I thought, well, what is this little communicator beeper talking to Spider-Man for? We know now it was all Black Cat, and we get some stuff on Billy Connors. We get a lot of information. Now, I felt it was real important. Technically, you can really just explain everything that happened in this comic book with a couple lines in the first page of Amazing Spider-Man proper, not Amazing Spider-Man HU, technically. In page 11, there was a problem with the way that they made the speech bubble. One speech bubble should be imposing on another, and it's the opposite way around, to let me know that she's talking first and he's talking second. Editors, edit. I'm gonna give this book a 9 out of 10. It was great. Maybe made useless in a couple of weeks, but who knows? Is that the last book that I read? Champions, Uncanny, Avengers, No Robo, Immortal Hulk. I think that was my whole lot. Yeah, and with Prisoner X, I didn't read that stuff. Thank you again for watching the video. You know what to do. If you want to subscribe, you just subscribe over there. And I'm going to watch Captain Marvel later on today. And I'm excited for that stuff. Captain Marvel, MCU. My name is Chillmonger. Deuces.